Hello, hello, everybody. This is Briefcase bringing you another North American ESP in-house game. This time, neither teams have names. It did pop up in the lobby for a brief second, but it doesn't look like they have made it into the game, and that's fine. Just fine. So right off the bat, we have the Radiant team banning out OG. Dire team responds by banning out Nyx Assassin. Odd considering that Nyx Assassin is so good against OD when it comes right down to it. Radiant team bans out Nature's Prophet as well, of course, not wanting to deal with that huge amount of split push that he can provide. But the Dire team does ban out Batrider themselves. Overall, so far, has just banned out some very good utility heroes, the Dire team. Of course, Nyx Assassin, very, very good at being a support, can play mid in a pinch if need be. And overall, is just very, very good at a bunch of different things. Can gank very effectively, can be a very, very strong support, and then in that same way, Batrider can do so as well. The Dire team has, or no, I should say the Radiant team has picked up that first pick Naga Siren that we see is so popular in the ESP community. The vast majority of games, Naga Siren is picked up first picked almost every time. And every single time, I have to say the same thing, it keeps your opponents guessing. It can, of course, Naga Siren has been played as a support a lot recently, almost exclusively nowadays. But in a pinch, Naga Siren, of course, can be your carry if you want her to. And in that way, you can actually pull out some tricky little bans and picks in the game when you do have Naga Siren first, as you can always throw that wrench into the other team's cogs. Silencer and Lina now both picked up by the Dire team. It looks like they don't want to let Naga Siren get off those songs of the siren anytime soon. Just adjusting my phone volume, everybody, so sorry, I was a little bit distracted. As well as Lina is very, very good at dealing with Weaver. A little bit odd that Weaver was picked up by the Radiant team, but nonetheless a very, very good ban in and of itself. Silencer's ult will, of course, completely shut down any sort of trickiness that Weaver has up his non-existent sleeves. But overall, a very, very slippery hero to actually track down and get a hold of. Now both teams, the Radiant team banning out Abaddon and Visage, two of the stronger supports in the game, and especially this current meta at the moment. Of course, Aphotic Shield is just so good at aiding your teammates, and Visage, if played well with good scouting with those familiars, is just essential to pretty much any team that he is a part of. Dire team now does ban out Queen of Pain and Keeper of the Light. Doesn't look like they want to give up a very, very strong mid. Of course, Batrider can be one of those, Queen of Pain as well. And Keeper of the Light is just so strong when comboed with pretty much any hero with a reliable nuke or stun. And I think they just don't want to deal with that at the moment. Maybe they do not plan on having as much sustain as the Keeper of the Light would grant. But now they have picked up a Troll Warlord as well as an Ogre Magi. And with Alina, that could be a very, very scary, aggressive tri-lane. 2 stuns combined with the Troll Warlord's innate ability to burst down in the beginning could be absolutely terrifying. Their Radiant team, though, has picked up a Rubik of their own. There are quite a few nice spells to steal, particularly Global Silence, but of course, as we all know, that is so obscenely difficult to actually steal when it comes right down to it. Radiant team now has also picked up a Razor. I always consider this such a weird pickup whenever OD is not on the field. Razor's good against a few heroes, definitely can pose a problem with Ogre Magi, or against Ogre Magi, not so much against Troll Warlord. It has never been too much of an issue. I've seen, especially early game, where Troll Warlord's two different versions of Whirling Axes just do so much damage. So a little bit odd that a Razor is picked up, I think, but interesting to see exactly how that will play out. The Dire team does not seem like they have a dedicated, very, very strong, or at least standard mid. Silencer, I have seen run as mid so far, and maybe they're prepping up for that, trying to make Silencer go mid, get that early 6, provide some nice ganks on the Weaver and Naga Siren with no Sakuchi to help. And that could be why they're actually banning out these very, very strong mids. Queen of Pain, of course, very strong. TA, also incredibly strong. And now interested to see exactly who the Radiant team is going to ban out themselves. They don't seem to have a dedicated mid either. Razor is usually run that way, but does not have to be, and actually could go something like a safe lane with Weaver, who is so resilient, obviously, can take the off lane in a pinch if they need him to. So interested to see exactly who they're going to ban out. Who exactly does the Dire team want? They have a Troll Warlord to carry. Ogre Magi, Lina, and Silencer are all possible supports. Of course, Lina will most likely do that, but Silencer can be kind of a middle of the rung hero as far as farm is concerned, and can actually use it quite well. Does pick up a Spirit Breaker, of course, the exclusive pub meta. Barely see him in programs whatsoever. There's just so much that can actually shut him down. But overall, I don't think a terrible pickoff, especially with the ability for Silencer to global silence. You combine that with Spirit Breaker's constant map presence and ability to charge pretty much any time. And what really usually shuts Spirit Breaker down is people clumped up together, and they have their stuns available and their skills available to them to actually stop him from getting solo kills on heroes. And as soon as you see Spirit Breaker actually get into contact, you just pop your global silence. Naga Siren's not going to have enough time to sing. That might be a guaranteed early kills on Weaver for just how ridiculously low his health pool is early on. Not to mention Rubik, with no telekinesis to really save you, Spirit Breaker is just going to eat him up for lunch. Razor might even have a slightly hard time, but probably not as much as the other three. Not with Unstable Current. I believe it's not with Unstable Current at his disposal, of course. Simply because, I mean, really, as soon as Spirit Breaker charges him, he's going to get slowed and hurt. And I think Razor, does it shoot a lightning ball from him? It might, and that'll really tell him that, of course, he's getting charged. Of course, as Spirit Breaker casts his ult on Razor, he's going to get purged as well and just get slowed right down and dealt damage. So it's not going to be a great time for Spirit Breaker doing that. So kind of interested to see exactly who the Radiant team is going to pick up. Silencer can just put such a huge wrench into their cogs of this team that I'm not 100% sure exactly who they need. I mean, Lifestealer is still in the pool, and he is a very, very good carry. Seeing as how they might really need one. Weaver, of course, can carry in a pinch whenever he needs to, but lately he's been run more as a straight off laner who just does fine just fine. But now looks like they are going to forego Razor being in the mid. That might have been their original plan, and instead are going for Puck, who will most likely be up against, I want to say, Silencer, but in the ESP community recently, not so much in the pro community, but we have been seeing a lot of Troll Warlords going mid. But if I know WizBiz, and I think I do at least a little bit, he is their die-hard carry. He doesn't do much, as far as I've seen, he doesn't do too much midding. So Troll Warlord, at least in my experience and my thought process, is going to be going into some sort of either safe lane or aggressive tri-lane with those heroes protecting him. And he's probably going to leave the mid up to either Lina or Silencer. So interesting to see exactly how these lineups will pan out. And let's get into who is playing who exactly. You have your mother playing as Spirit Breaker. She's such a pretty lady. Penguin as Ogre Magi. Tafla is playing Silencer. Caboose, the tryout, is playing as Lina. Looks like he's getting stuck as the support. And WizBiz as the Troll Warlord. Mid on the Radiant team, we have Chris going as Puck. We have Valiant. Looks like he's going to be supporting bot. He has a nice hood on that Rubik. Hebe now is playing Naga Siren. Looks like she's going support Naga Siren as well. You have Vamp is going to go to the safe lane, and it looks like it's going to be Razor versus... Is it going to be an aggressive try down here, or are they just going to go for that early first blood? And all the while, you're going to have Tyrol Smoochy Wallace, which I think is from Key and Peele. Pretty sure. Tyrol Smoochy Wallace is going to be going off lane top. He does not have any wards to try and block these camps, but so far, with just your mother going up here, this might be a Weaver versus a Spirit Breaker, which, I mean, I don't know who exactly I give that to as far as the lane. If Spirit Breaker gets one lucky bash on Weaver, that's like a quarter of his health gone right away, and it can be so scary to go around from that. Your mother does have more regen at his disposal, not to mention a stout shield, so I think overall he might have an okay lane here. He won't be doing too terribly, and it looks like with all the friendship going on down here, they are able to secure that rune for WizBiz, and it is a double damage rune, and that's going to make life in the mid lane just so much easier for him, especially against a puck. Well, he whiffed that deny, but no biggie. And then down here, you have a very interesting tri-lane. You have Penguin as Ogre Magi. You have that stun. No skill up into Silencer yet. Caboose, of course, does have Light Strike Array, and now it looks like WizBiz just trying to get those last hits, trying to get those denies, is winning out just barely, but of course it's far too early to tell exactly how this is going to go. And down here, I would say both these lanes are very aggressive when it comes right down to it. You have 2 stuns on either of them, and then a ranged sort of carry. I think Razor overall though has a higher potential. Has a higher potential for damage output with this static link, with this plasma field at his disposal. But of course, Last Word just does so much damage. But that static link, of course, for how long it's already been on him, that's 21 damage. That's enough to do a huge amount. Couple of stuns now thrown out to Penguin. Is gonna have to stun if he wants to live. Razor is barely just gonna miss it out. Is anybody gonna be fast enough? Caboose does pop a flask onto Penguin, and it looks like he's gonna just barely get away. One last hit, just couldn't quite get it. And as we expected, with that double damage rune at his disposal early on, he is cleaning up as far as last hits are concerned, and is now more than triple puck. Of course, it is very early in this mid lane to really say what's what, but interesting to see nonetheless. And it looks like the Radiant team did throw down a sentry here, try and get that vision of their own jungle, but in response, and seeing that their observer ward was getting taken down, the Dire team did indeed throw down their own, was actually able to protect it, and that is a huge pick-off this early on for this tri-lane. Now, he is trying to de-ward it every which way. Is he going to get him up onto the cliff? Does not indeed, but Caboose looks like he is still going to get the illusion rune, does pick it up in the last second. Vamp is here as well. He looks like there's quite a bit going on, but all the while, with no bashes top, it looks like the Space Cow has fallen prey to the Spider Ant Time Traveler. Man, that was the longest brain stutter I think I've ever had in recent memory. That was super rough. And with that, Tyrell Smoochy Wallace has indeed used his flask up. Sorry about missing first blood, everybody. And now it looks like your mother still having a very hard lane against Tyrell Smoochy Wallace. Chris looks like he should be having a bottle coming to him quite soon. I don't know why he hasn't quite sent it yet. Maybe he's saving up to get a flask as well, but no, he just took a little bit of extra time to get it out now, throwing out those orbs, knowing he has plenty of mana regen on the way. And WizBiz, you really should just get those last hits mid. You're doing fine, just fine. Leading the mid, having more than double, and he is indeed harassing Chris. Is he going to get him before his bottle's here? He does pop the phase shift, and just barely gets away. One last hit on him, and he just could not quite get it. WizBiz, of course, does have a bottle of his own. And it looks like he's just waiting around, trying to see if he can't secure a rune anytime soon. But with that bottle, Chris is going to be bottle crowing. WizBiz is just so good at harassing with these axes, though. And it looks like he's going to be bottle crowing as well. No, not quite. Just gets his own boots and goes about his day. It looks now like your mother having a terrible lane. It seems like I overshot on this guess that he'd have a not too bad one, and it looks like a double damage rune going to WizBiz, and he's going to be very happy about getting that. That is 2 double damage runes already at the 4-minute mark for WizBiz in this mid lane, and with that, he should just start dominating it even more. Looks like Razor is doing quite well in the last hits, pretty much toe for tit for tat. As far as silencers, though, as well, they both seem to be farming quite effectively. Neither of them seems to have the edge in this bottom lane, and with no kills going either direction in it as well, it's going to be a very close one. It seems like the Radiant team is slightly behind in levels simply because of having to pull and trying to do that sort of thing. Taffley does get thrown back, does not get ensnared in time as well, though. Caboose they're just trying to get as much damage on Valiant as possible. but it doesn't seem to really matter. Vamp is getting quite a bit of last hits, or not last hits, of just harassing down that Lina with that boots and the unstable current, making him just that a little bit more faster. He is very, very capable of really harassing people down, and now he does have phase, and that's going to be so scary for them. It now does look like your mother is charging this puck. He does have phase shift ability. He does get slowed. Dodges the stun, but doesn't dodge the slow, and they are diving your mother, and they do get it indeed. And the kill also goes to Wizbiz there, who looks like he did indeed pop that double damage, just to secure that and make sure that that did indeed happen. Penguin is here, of course, with Caboose and Tafla. Looks like they're doing fine, just fine. They, of course, are ever so slightly behind Razor. They need to be so wary of him charging forward, using that plasma field and just harassing them all down. That can actually do so much damage in this early stages of the game. Looks like Valiant and Hebe, Valiant, I did say Valiant, did I not? Valiant and Hebe doing their best to double stack and pull and see if they can't get and just deny this lane their experience. And of course, the Radiant team will have an easier time in this lane than the Dire team, and it looks like the Dire team needs to be a little bit better at securing these neutrals. They're not having a great time. They're not going to bring down Vamp in time, though, and this static link is just going to do so much damage. A horrible engagement for the Dire team here. Topanga now is going to fall as well. I don't think they're going to get Tafla. He is able to go away, so only losing 2 supports, but also giving those 2 to this Razor. And did he get both kills? No, just 1. But this mid Wizbiz is having the time of his life. Still double the last hits of Puck, and that is not what you want to happen as Puck. And now it looks like Caboose is dewarding. You know Rubik wants to run in and telekinesis onto a cliff, but does indeed get the D-ward off. Good for him. Tyroyal Smoochie Wallace is actually out-farming Wizbiz. Considering he has no competition up here, he should be doing fine, just fine. Looks like he's going for that early Lincolns. Completely understandable. With Laguna Blade available, with Fire Blast, not to mention Last Word. There are a lot of single target abilities that, of course, will really destroy this Weaver. Not to mention the charge from Spirit Breaker as well as his ult. And now it looks like they are charging Hebe. Valiant was not able to telekinesis in time. And it now is can they quite get him? The axes just barely hit him. Valiant is still slowed. Is he going to be able to get away? Your mother does not have his ult available. He already popped it, and it looks like Valiant is going to get away. Does get the flash denied. I don't know. Wizbiz is moving quite quickly. He does have the whirling axes, and he can't hide in the trees. And it will give Wizbiz even more farm in this, with now 2 kills and 39 last hits. He should be leading. He's ever so slightly behind this Weaver. And now Razor is all alone. He has to be very careful here. If Penguin, if they knew he was all alone, if they had vision right down here, they had vision, this Dire team, they definitely would have gone for that. That would have been probably an instant kill with Last Word, Dragon Slave, Light Strike Array, as well as Fire Blast. That definitely would have gone their way. And now Wizbiz has popped his invisibility rune. It looks like the Radiant team are trying to set up a gank. It is 4 versus 4, but now the Dire team in a terrible position. That is not how you want to start this fight. Getting Dream Called, everybody getting hit by it. Wizbiz trying to do his best and trying to get these kills. Phase Shift just barely saving him. Wizbiz being way too greedy here. He wants to get Vamp as well. Can he get him? He does get Vamp. Valiant has just enough for a Fade Bolt. It isn't quite enough. Caboose has bought back to try and make a little bit of a mark on this team. At least I believe he bought back. Actually, no, just came back very quickly. Is such a low level still that he just showed up very soon. Hebe now looks like he wants to put a little bit of pressure back on, but it's not going to be enough. And now your mother looks like he will fall. Not quite to Tyroyal Smoochie Wallace. Your mother does not. Oh, he could have probably dove that if he had just gotten 1 hit on either of them, though. That would have been very close for both of them. Bash everyone else can't bash Weaver, however. And now It looks like the Radiant team getting completely and utterly sick of the vision that this tri-lane has on them and just trying to de-ward everything possible. Razor now is sitting at 25 last hits. Tafla at 26. Has Tafla died yet? I actually don't. He has indeed, sadly enough. Razor has as well, but with 1 kill under his belt, he should be leading above Tafla by quite a bit of gold, and he's doing a pretty fine at that. WizBiz is playing this mid troll very well, does indeed get the tower kill as well, and now it looks like he might be in a little bit of trouble. Does use his bottle to regen up, of course, can phase away. Chris now realizing that his buddy was here all the time. Maybe a little bit of a slow turnaround, of course, did have Dream Coil available to him if he ever needed to, and now it looks like WizBiz is getting a free regen rune for his troubles. Tyroyal Smoochie Wallace, of course, does have time-lapse available to him, so I doubt that this WizBiz, this troll, is really going to give him too much trouble, but with that stun available, it looks like WizBiz is just waiting for it. Maybe wants to make him use that time-lapse available. He, of course, does still have vision, trying to get those last hits. He's going to have to time-lapse sometime, and until those whirling axes come available to him, it looks like Tyrol Smoochie Wallace might be able to get away, but of course he is still gonna get stunned, and if this Sakuchi is not off cooldown, right when he's about to get stunned, he will probably die. He probably should have saved that. It might have saved his life, because now your mother is right on him, and he's gonna get the ult off as well, and that's a dead Weaver for you, and that is not what you want to happen. So just a note, everybody, when you are playing Weaver and you think you're getting charged, almost certain you're getting charged, you save that Sakuchi for when you can see Spirit Breaker pretty much right about to hit you. He might, of course, have dust available, but you essentially just need to take that chance, and if you do pop that Sakuchi right when he does stun you, you'll have about 3 seconds of still invisible full movement speed running at your disposal, and with that you have a much higher likelihood than simply getting stunned while you're visible or invisible and then getting ulted by Spirit Breaker, and that is just such a bad place to be in when you're a Weaver. Now he's gonna fall a little bit far behind. WizBiz just barely getting away there. No ensnare was available to interrupt that channel, and it looks now like this try just pulling this lane of creeps as well. Trollwaller does pop his regen. I suppose just trying to get back into the fray a little bit faster, and now it looks like he's rotating bot. Maybe want to go into the opposing jungle, but it looks like he's always just looking out for this puck, seeing if he can't do quite a bit of damage and just cause him so much grief. Puck, of course, does have an invisibility rune at his disposal, and you need to be very careful about that when you are Troll Warlord. Of course, a puck with invisibility, I don't actually know if you can pop it while phase shifted, probably as soon as you're done it, but you can definitely shift queued up, and that might be so hard to actually find him. But with those whirling axes at WizBiz's disposal, yes indeed, those ones, he can have a very easy time, and now it looks like Hebe completely caught out. He is not level 6 yet, he's gonna fall, and the next closest target is that indeed. If they can kill these before he gets here, it might have actually gone on to Valiant, but it was not gonna happen, sadly. And with that, all 5 heroes down here, they're gonna pick up this easy tower and a free kill as well, and that's exactly what you want to see happen. And so far this game has been very even. Weaver, of course, though, does have free farm up top pretty much all the time, but with those extra kills at WizBiz's disposal, and not to mention those much earlier towers and just that extra tower that they have now, that's going to increase his farm by so much. And it looks like they do indeed know that your mother is coming on, but let's follow it anyway. Let's see where he's going. Troll Warlord might be in a little bit of trouble by this puck, but it doesn't look like anybody's quite there yet. But I bet you anything that puck is invisible at this exact moment. Now WizBiz looks like he might be getting cut out. He does have the vision and snares here, though. Caboose is here as well. There's no level 6 on Hebe or Caboose. That might have been the changer in that fight and might have been so scary. Penguin might fall. Caboose just barely getting away, and Tafla now popping that global silence, just guaranteeing that all of his friend heroes are getting home a-okay. And with no Zeus on the field, it looks like Caboose will indeed get away with his only brown boots, supporting all day long, and looks like he's just trying to get every ward he possibly can. Your mother does pick up the rune, realizing that WizBiz is probably a bit too hurt and a little bit too all the way in base to actually get it. And now your mother is indeed charging Weaver. It looks like they just want to force out this time lapse. If they do have dust available, they do not. It does not look like they are at all gonna get this. Your mother might get a bash off available. Tyrell Smoochie Wallace might be playing this a bit close to the chin when it comes right down to it, but it doesn't seem like it, realizing that all the other heroes are here, and he just wants to run away and get there. Now looks like Topanga trying to get a little bit of farm wherever he can. He is soaking up some good experience here. Solo lane experience is what you absolutely want as an Ogre Magi. You want that multicast up pretty much as soon as humanly possible, because this early on in the game, getting 2 Fire Blast off, getting essentially a 3-second stun, not to mention about 400 damage, is so strong. And now it looks like this Dire team is transitioning to just trying to get those early towers and get that gold advantage at their disposal. And if we look at that, it's actually not, oddly enough. It has been such a close game. The Radiant has been in the gold lead for most of this, but overall they're still having a fairly close game. But if we look at experience, the Radiant is still only 1,000 gold ahead. This is so even. Caboose does indeed get that light strike away off on Tyrell Smoochie Wallace. He is going to get hit by your mother. Is he going to bait out the ult? No, uses it on him over here, and now that's where he is. Can they get it? WizBiz, though, does not have whirling axes at his disposal anymore. If he had, that might have gone a little bit differently. He might have actually been able to get that secure on Weaver. But it looks like Vamp now is going to be farming up top as best he can. Tyrell, a little bit of smack talk going on between your mother and Tyrell Smoochie Wallace. And now, with that, it looks like Caboose, along with your mother and WizBiz, with this Vladimir's that they have at their disposal now, are going to be going for this Roche. And I don't know if the Radiant team knows this is going to happen. They don't have any vision around here whatsoever. No vision at all for the Radiant team. And it looks now like they're going to get a completely and utterly free Roche, and this is not what you want to have happen. WizBiz, of course, Troll Warlord, very scary, can be so ballsy when it comes to diving, and that's going to be exactly what he wants to do. And I wouldn't surprise me one bit if they want to take some tier 2s, with at least one tier 2 with that Aegis at their disposal. What is the blind on those whirling axes? I think most people actually, they must forget about the blind at least. Mischance of 60%. No wonder I always lose to Troll in one-on-one man fights. No fooling. And now it looks like Troll Warlord is working up. I mean, Blade of Alacrity only really goes into a few things. You have your diffusals, which Troll Warlord is usually not a strong proponent of having. And then you have your Yashas, which of course will make this a race car Troll Warlord with phase boots, with Yasha, and possibly even a Sage at his disposal. It'll be interesting to see exactly what direction he's going to go with that Yasha. Might go match style, of course, a fine item on Troll Warlord. Tyrell Smoochie Wallace looks like he is going to be stacking these Ancients. Might have been a little bit of a late stack, but he should be pretty friggin' safe when it comes right down to it. Did indeed get it. Good for him. And if we look at these net worths, Rubik is just so poor. Valiant is just trying to ward up everything he possibly can, trying to provide as much space as humanly possible. And now it looks like a gank is going down on Vamp down here. They are moving around. They do have a little bit of vision here. Vamp has to know this is happening. He does get last worded. That's not going to stop him, though. He's still quite quick. Does pop the Drum of Endurance. And now your mother is getting in there. Is that going to be a free courier? No, they do pop the haste on it, and they do get away. They do get the pickup. They do get to pick up the free kill on Valiant, but Chris is here as well, doing a lot of damage to everybody. And now your mother is actually getting a couple of bashes off. Valiant barely dies. And there's that ensnare plus Charge of Darkness instance that you do see happen on Spirit Breaker from time to time. Of course, when Spirit Breaker is ensnared and he charges, he actually sends out an invisible projectile of himself, essentially, that will get off a greater bash on his target. And because of that, he got that kill there, but just barely and in the nick of time. So the Radiant playing very well, backing up their buddy, but now it looks like WizBiz completely on his own has taken that tier 2, and that's of course going to give them all the more gold for this Dire team, and it looks like Weaver picking up a solo kill on Lena. Not sure if that was a Geminate attack that just kind of got sent out, and it looks like Tafla is going to get the deny off on this tower, and that is not what you want to have happen if you are the Radiant team. Still remarkably close as far as gold is concerned. Both teams with 9 kills, very similar towers down as far as the map goes, and overall this has been an incredibly close game, and my pleasure so far to cast it at the very least. Your mother now has picked up an armlet, and interesting to see if he's gonna want to start diving really heavily with that, seeing as how with proper armlet toggling you are so hard to actually kill when it comes right down to it. You need a lot of bursts to take people down when they are doing that properly. Of course, the static link Razor will put a huge kibosh in that. Plasma field does do quite a bit of damage itself, and if you can put him to sleep while he has his armlet going, that might be the end of it when it comes right down to it. Looks like WizBiz trying very hard to catch somebody with those axes, getting thrown back. Chris does have a Dream Coil available. Very nice. Hits 3 of them. Silences 3 of them as well. In pops the Weaver. Vamp is stealing so much damage. She's up to 140. Topanga needs one more hit. Tafla, you are not going to get away. Caboose is here. He's not going to get it. Tyrell Smoochie Wallace is all over him. He's not going to get away. WizBiz falls as well. And that is a 5-0 for the Radiant team. And most likely because of that perfect initiation pulled out by my main man, Chris, playing as Puck. Hebe, of course, did have Song of the Siren available to him if he needed it to, but it looks now like the single target DPS of the Dire team is just not panning out for them in this mid game. This is when those big team fights start to happen. You have Fade Bolt doing 280 at the very least. You're probably sitting around 200 damage per hero on average. You have Whirling Axes, which he has stolen, of course. You have Puck doing Illusory Orb, Waning Rift, and Dream Coil. Skuchi is putting its little 2 cents in as well. Now Hebe popping that ult just in the nick of time to make sure that Tyrell Smoochie Wallace does indeed get away. Spirit Breaker is not charging him. They have to be so scared of that. And of course, in that team fight, Plasma Field doing so much damage as well. But not only that, Static Link, of course, giving Razor that 140 damage, and that was so good for taking out those heroes all the quicker. And an interesting mechanic, or not interesting mechanic, but an interesting synergy between this Radiant team that actually I have not seen abused too much lately, is you pop a Static Link on a hero, and then you just put him to sleep, and you get that full duration of Static Link, and you just get so much damage on this Razor if you do that. What is it max out at, like 244, something like that? Just an obscene number. Of course, as soon as that happens, Razor becomes the primary target for everybody as soon as they wake up, but with some good team play, I think you can do quite well in that respect as well. Tyrell Smoochie Wallace has picked up his Lincolns, and that's going to make him surviving so much easier. Chris, of course, is waiting in the wings, seeing if he can't make a little something happen with Tafla, and now it looks indeed like Tafla just has pretty much no answer to that Lincolns. Whenever last word is used, it's gonna pop it. Lincolns has just a barely longer cooldown than last word in and of itself, so no more getting silenced for Weaver, which of course can be so scary for him when they time lapse. But still very interesting to see that this Dire team has opted not to get pretty much any dust for the Weaver. Of course, he can always time-lapse out of it in a pinch, but having Spirit Breaker be some sort of essentially exterminator for that Weaver, always chasing him down, always being on his ass with dust, can be so terrifying to be Weaver if that's the case, that you basically never feel comfortable doing exactly what Weaver does best, which is staying in lane, finding that farm whenever he can, and then being very difficult to kill. And there it is, just that Lincoln's already providing him so much health in, at least effective health when it comes right down to it, just blocking at least a couple spells all the time. And I'm always surprised by just how low the cooldown is on Lincoln's, only 17 seconds. That is just so strong. And of course, Troll Warlord now is just moved so quickly. He hasn't even used phase boots, and he's at 442, 504 movement speed, and that's only going to increase with this Sange and Yasha that's going to go in. Not by much, mind you. What does it go up to? 13, I think? We'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. It looks like he wants to have that going to him. There it is. It now has popped in the courier. Vamp looks like he is gonna go in and just check the Roche a little bit with this invisibility. It looks like they did not write down the time. And that's A-okay. Wizbiz is going to be picking up this Sange and Yasha. How fast do you move now? 5-12, only 10 away from completely and utterly max. Is he going to get him onto the cliff? Does not. Your mother, though, does get ensnared. Hebe, though, completely out of position. Vamp does have the static link on Tafla, but they've already popped all their stuns, all their snares. They don't have enough. Tafla now getting caught out by that Dream Coil. That's not what you want to have happen. Puck just barely... Oh, is he going to get away? He does have phase shift available as well as a max level blink. You do not need to die here. You definitely could have gotten away, but I think that burn is going to get him, and it does indeed. A little bit of a misplay there by Puck. I have to say, he definitely could have gotten away. Phase shift did come off of cooldown there, and of course, with phase shift, actually, if it was only... It is level 3, only 2.25 seconds, not a guaranteed getaway with Blink Dagger. Might have been a safer route to try if that's what he was going for. But still, it looks like overall some very good play by this Dire team. And with that, I mean, the lead that the Radiant team secured with that big 5-0 team fight, it's not dwindling, but at least that slope has stopped. And now it seems like it might just be a plateau. Looks like they also did not write down the Roche timers, and that's fine, just fine, as long as you keep checking on it, kids. And now it looks like Razor has picked up an Aghanim Scepter, realizing that he is getting stunned a whole lot during these team fights. But if you pop out that Eye of the Storm at the very beginning, even while you're stunned, if you can just remain in that team fight for however long you possibly can, that Eye of the Storm will just eat people up. Not to mention that this will actually increase the Radiant's ability to push towers and the high ground eventually by quite a significant margin, because now Static Storm will actually attack towers, and if Razor can get he might be able to actually start split pushing at his disposal. Valiant now just barely gets the telekinesis off in time, still never gets him up onto that cliff. Valiant looks like he's definitely gonna die to your mother. Does pop those whirling axes. It was not enough to deter your mother, wasn't able to blind him enough to make sure that Valiant could get away, and now it looks like they're gonna go for this Roche. Puck, Chris is nowhere near around. He does have Blink at his disposal to get there quickly, but this is another completely and utterly free Roche, and I don't know how I feel about this. A little bit more playing, I mean, a little bit more coordination by this Radiant team, and that could have been theirs, of course. You'd have to be very wary when you don't have other heroes around, but I mean, if everybody had ported to this tier 2 tower and just moved up there, I think that they could have taken it. They have Song of the Siren at their disposal to really set up those Roche, to really set up those team fights and basically steal that Roche. You have, of course, the perfect Aegis stealer in Weaver, seeing as how I don't think they have a gem at their disposal yet. I don't think they have sentries on hand. They do not indeed. No dust as well. Not to mention Puck Dream Coil in there with all those heroes grouped up would have just been incredible for them. So, not sure how I feel about that. Maybe wanted to contest it, and they just have the better team fight at the moment. Your mother has picked up a double damage rune. He's probably going to want to make some use of this. There is a regen rune there as well, and they leave just one single Ancient Black Drake there just to annoy this Radiant team and make sure that they do not get those Ancients. It looks like Lena Caboose does indeed get that last hit on Weaver. No silence was used to get it, and will Puck be able to get away? He does now has phase shift level 3, and he's definitely gonna get away. Your mother looks like he's scoping out, trying to find him. Not sure if he'd be able to even kill him, just because that Blink Dagger is off of cooldown already. And of course, as everybody knows, with phase shift level 3, it lasts for 3.25 seconds. Blink Dagger comes off cooldown from getting hit in 3 seconds. So you essentially just phase shift, queue up a Blink Dagger, and you are guaranteed to get away. I don't think I have ever seen a Puck not be able to. I'm a little bit hazy, a little bit fuzzy on whether or not constant damage effects similar to Alchemist's Acid Spray would actually cancel that. Hard to say. Might just be luck of the draw on when that tick exactly would happen, but overall, I'm fairly certain that that Blink Dagger will come off before that. Wizbiz just moves so quickly. Moves at 512 when he has his phase boots going, and that's that added movement speed from being in Berserker's Rage melee form. just makes him move so fast. And I've been seeing this Troll Warlord do so much work in these ESP games. I have just been so impressed. Of course, he is leading the farm charts. He has 2K on the next leading, which of course is Weaver. But the rest of his team is a little bit far behind. I suppose it evens out when your supports have about a 1,000 to 2,000 gold advantage on theirs. But overall, you really want those core heroes, your Spirit Breakers, your Silencers, who was essentially part of a safe tri-lane, or of a defensive tri-lane. And you want, of course, your mid Whizbiz, who's also taking that carry role, to be doing very well. And now he is way overextending. His team is coming in, getting a little bit of problems with my scroll wheel there. Not the end of the world. Caboose looks like he does have a blink dagger, getting a free kill now on Hebe, and that's global silence use now, just guaranteeing those kills and guaranteeing this tower falling as well. I think a very good use of it right now. And it's interesting to see exactly how this team is going to go. Are they going to try and push this high ground? They might as well. The rest of the team isn't here. Weaver's just trying to get this mid tower, and he will. Chris does have a TP available, but with that battle trance from Troll Warlord, this bottom tier 3 is going to be taking a lot of damage. Troll Warlord's BKB is on cooldown. He's not going to be able to do anything. Vamp needs to pop that ult. He is in the middle of a team fight, getting so stun locked all the time. Whizbiz is here though. He does get the kill. He's gonna fall, but of course he has that Aegis available. Global Silence is not available anymore. Hebe, though, does have Ensnare as well as Song of the Siren. I do not see Whizbiz getting out of this one. Hebe might, in fact, fall, though. Whizbiz BKB almost back up. He also has Drum of the Nerds. He is just a one-man wrecking crew. He is regenning so much health. He's not going to regen through that, however, and all that during that entire engagement, looks like Tyrell Smoochie Wallace was just cleaning up the rest of this dire team. And they have to be so wary now. I mean, both of mid and top lane are pushed in. And if either of these heroes that are still alive on the Radiant team had a Boots of Travel, that actually might have even been quite a bit more damage on these tier 3s. Overall, they have come out fine, just fine, however. And with that, Caboose is here to defend. Might want to defend this mid. No, it looks like Spirit Breaker, your mother, is already on that indeed. Just charging so quickly. Interested to see if Tyrell Smoochie Wallace, of course, will go for that double damage. That'll make him so terrifying, especially, well, pretty much to everybody who isn't Whizbiz. Of course, being a Weaver, you feel so bad when you get stun locked all the way to death. And if there's one hero that can do that, I wouldn't say consistently, but a lot of the time, it's that Troll Warlord with that innate bash ability that he has, of course. Razor now has not hit level 16 quite yet, so this Eye of the Storm is not going to be so strong as it should be. And now it looks like they have popped a smoke. First smoke of the game. There has not been too much roaming or ganking in this game beyond Spirit Breaker running around trying to do his bit. And there is no detection now for this entire team. They are going to catch to Penguin. They're going to catch Caboose as well. Caboose in the worst position available. That's a wasted plasma field. It doesn't really matter. Wasted telekinesis as well. This is actually giving the Dire team enough time to get away. Caboose actually does teleport into the trees. He's pretty safe here. Nobody can really deal with it. And a global silence going down to counter-initiate, and a beautiful counter-initiation. What I thought was going so much in favor of this Radiant team with their better team fight, it now looks like the Dire team is just sweeping up. And it looks like the Radiant team does know that Caboose is here. Chris is just going to be biding his time, but it looks like Caboose also just teleporting into as many trees as possible. They don't have a way to actually get him out at the moment. I don't think Whirling Axes actually takes it out. There is no Quelling Blade on this Troll Warlord, and there it is. There's the Blink Dagger off of cooldown again, is able to get himself out there and not into trees this time around. If we look at these gold graphs, it is still so even. The Radiant still has a slight edge as far as experience is concerned, but having about 3,000 at the 34-minute mark is still so little. Your mother just barely being on this high ground. Valiant, of course, having the worst time of his life. Your mother, of course, getting no bashes on that Weaver. Chris will fall to Whizbiz, and that Weaver has to be running for his dear life. He be realizing he is in a perilous position, and just the entire Dire team committing to all of these ganks. Your mother was in a pretty scary place right there with this Weaver doing so much damage to him with that Chrysalis as well as Desolator, not to mention those Geminate attacks, of course, just making him do so strong of right clicks that deeps. But this Dire team is just, they're all rolling as a pack. And I mean, Troll Warlord moves at max speed with Bloodlust on, and only phase boots. It's so terrifying. And even if you had a haste rune, Troll Warlord might be able to actually catch you in this instance. And it looks now like they are pushing into this mid tower. Do they have the Aegis available? I don't think they did. I think Troll Warlord did indeed lose it on that bot tower, but they, of course, got that tier 2 with it. And now they pick up a free tier 2 as well. Puck is not here to provide any amount of initiation, and without that, this Radiant team is essentially neutered. They don't have the initiation available. Roshan will spawn up in 2 minutes' time. WizBiz, are you going to pick up that invisibility rune? Does not look like it. Who's he going to give it to? Might want to give it to SB if possible. And if SB can actually pick that up and cast Charge of Darkness in time, he's gonna try for it. Hebe now might get caught out, doesn't get Ensnare off in time, and he does get bashed before the other one. Oh, is he getting pigged in the last second? Hebe pops that mirror image just to be able to get away, and your mother in a horrible position. He does fall, and he's gotta feel so sad about that. Penguin has picked up that invisibility rune. I don't think they have any amount of detection. They do not. Valiant has a sentry available. If Penguin actually does get in his way and he feels that collision, if he's paying attention, he might be able to go for it. Penguin should be way careful here. There's only one reason for supports to go here, and that's to ward. And if he's gonna ward, he might de-ward as well with this sentry right here. And that would basically be the end. And now they know he's here. All they need to do is throw down that sentry, but of course it is too late now. Throws it down anyway, but by then, Penguin is long gone. Looks like Tafla has farmed up a Force Staff, Ghost Scepter, as well as Mechanism. So he's going to be doing fine, just fine, though. WizBiz, though, with Chris's Sheepstick, WizBiz is in a horrible position to go up against Tyrell Smoochie Wallace. That Geminate attack providing that last hit, and there is all of the DPS of the Dire team gone now. They have such a hard time actually dealing with people and just dealing damage in general to this Radiant team when that Troll Warlord is down. And now with that, is the Radiant team, it is dead even as far as gold. This is probably the closest game I have ever cast in my entire small, short casting career. But that gold is absolutely dead even now at the 37-minute mark. Experience has spiked up again for the Radiant. But of course, that Desolator is going to make this Roshan so much easier for them. And the Dire team has absolutely no vision around here. And that's going to be the third Roshan kill this game, which of course means that there will be a cheese coming down. And more likely than not, that Aegis is indeed going to go for the Weaver. There's a cheese. People not paying attention to exactly what's being dropped. And Razor does indeed get the cheese himself. Might have wanted to give it to Puck. If Puck does get burst down, he's kind of useless, falls off. And if he doesn't get his initiation down, he's not the best in team fights. But with this Aegis, with that cheese, it looks like this team, this Radiant team, might be going and might be trying to get those tier 3s. Whew. A little out of practice, huh? So Tyrell Smoochie Wallace is going to be farming up this top. Of course, it looks like they want to push in here. Of course, the Dire team has gone mid, trying to make sure that this lane pushes out as much as it can. And interesting to see exactly what this Radiant team will do. They looks like they're giving up on the push. They want to get one of those perfect initiations, possibly wait for this Dire team to actually push out of the base a little bit. But in the meantime, this bottom lane is pushing down. It will eventually get to the tower and do a bit of damage, of course, unless somebody from the Radiant team ports. But with all of these TPs, I mean, these kids are playing very, very well, and now it looks like they are giving the farm to Tyrell Smoochie Wallace. He is very close to finishing up that Daedalus. He only needs to pick up a Demon Edge now, and that's all he needs to do. And of course, with this whole lane of creeps giving him that farm, it looks like now a little bit of a gank going by your mother onto Vamp, and he should not use the cheese here. He should save it. Does indeed, and that is just going to be the end of that. Hebe might die as well. Whizbiz is just so quick. Does pop his ult. Global Silence has just left him. And now it's not in range, though, to protect Valiant. And Valiant is definitely going to fall now. If they do get vision, your mother's Charge of Darkness will be back up in about 10 seconds. And still think they might want to gank this Weaver. He should have a Daedalus pretty much any time he wants. He still has an Aegis available. And if this goes uncontested with these 4 heroes barreling down mid, no TP on Whizbiz, no TP on your mother, to Penguin, no TP on to Penguin. Caboose doesn't have a TP either. This Tyrell Smoochie Wallace is going to get this free tower, and it looks like they want to base race this. Taflet doesn't have a TP either. Can they base race against this Weaver? There is no Razor available. The Weaver's up here. Puck can provide some good initiation. Did get a good Dream Coil off. Got it onto Penguin as well as Caboose. Caboose barely living because of that mechanism. Now Chris popping that Ghost Scepter as well, just guaranteeing that he lives. But it looks like this base race is going in favor of the Dire team, and they need to commit to this. They need to take at least 2 lanes of racks to make it worth their while. Whizbiz's Battle Trance providing so much damage now. Valiant did steal that Charge of Darkness. Nagasiren has bought back. Vamp, though, that Static Link not used too effectively, and it looks like 1 lane of racks for 1 lane of racks. Your mother is not going to get this kill. There's no way he's going to. He does indeed fall. They're still chasing Whizbiz. Vamp is also incredibly quick, but you cannot chase a 488 move speed Troll Warlord, a 522 speed Troll Warlord. You are not going to chase them. Even constant Sakuchis are not going to get you there, and they must just be absolutely floored at how fast this Troll is. Troll Warlord, of course, has picked up a Monkey King bar, and with all the attack speed he has, that is a very efficient item for him. Spirit Breaker looks like he is on his way to an Assault Cuirass, of course, making his entire team more efficient, making them more resilient to this Weaver, at the very least, trying to counteract this Desolator, combined with Troll Warlord's Vladimir's. That might just be enough for this team to survive. It looks like another smoke just went down for Valiant, as well as Hebe and Chris, and they are backing up Tyrell Smoochie Wallace and Vamp. It looks like he's trying to bait out a big team fight, maybe just a Your Mother charge. Interesting to see. Whizbiz does throw out some axes, just testing the waters, seeing who's around. Caboose does indeed find a puck, can't quite do it. Chris, though, is here, and he does get a terrific sheep off on Whizbiz. Is Whizbiz going to fall? Because if he does, that might be GG. Barely getting away. One more Geminate attack. It's just enough. Whizbiz does not get away, does buy back immediately. The Aegis is popped, though, for this Weaver. A lot of action going down now. He's trying to get this last hit on Your Mother. Can't quite do it. Whizbiz did buy back. Maybe didn't see that. Maybe didn't see it coming. He buys back. He TPs in. Might that be a wasted one? Do they have vision available to them? Is there a gem on anybody? To Penguin does not have one. Your Mother not as well. And with that, kind of a lukewarm engagement. Both teams doing a lot there. Of course, a lot of people dying, but both teams buying back if they want to. Both carries buying back. Your Mother did not buy back there. And overall, just both carries dying, both carries buying back, and now both teams looks like they want to recede. Puck has used up his Dream Coil, his initiation, of course, and everybody's just a little bit too low to really remain here. Valiant does not have the mana to stay here. He doesn't even have mana boots yet. Looks like he might pick him up right now. Does indeed. And now he's going to want to share that with all of his friends. But of course, with Hebe, who is not here, this might be a pretty dangerous place to be. 4 on 5, that's not what you want to see. Of course, Your Mother is great at initiating. Caboose does have an Ulz as well as a Blink Dagger at his disposal. Does get silenced. 1 hit from this Weaver is enough. Vamp pops that cheese. It's not going to be enough, though. Whizbiz just absolutely blendering him. Tyrell Smoochie Wallace, though, does get ulted and stunned. And there are the 2 carries for this Radiant team. Everybody's still up. Valiant, are you going to get away? 1 stun. No, gets Yules by this Caboose. And Valiant will fall as well. Puck is making it home. They still have Hebe's Song of the Siren available. But if this Dire team picks up this rune right here, this double damage rune, I don't know if they could even stop them from taking all of these towers. And now it looks like they are charging, surging down the mid lane. Whizbiz, of course, Battle Trance might be up by the time they get there. Very, very close to it at the very least. And they are going directly for these barracks, of course, being good Dota players and taking out the melee barracks first, just in case any sort of funny sort of action happens to them, and they're left only taking one. And now it looks like charging up top, Hebe is here, does get the ensnare off, Puck does pig this Troll Warlord, but the global silence is here, but not before the sleep is popped, and that will delay things just enough for Razor as well as Rubik to get here. But this Dire team really needs to commit here. You don't need to race this, you don't need to go for kills, just get for that last tower, get that last barracks. And now Wizbiz is getting quite a bit of damage stolen. Vamp pops the BKB, he's not dead yet, he's actually doing very, very well, and he does have plus 240 damage. Your mother getting hurt so much. Chris is so close to dying as well. Weaver is back, and have they stalled it enough? Looks like the Dire team, maybe a blunder now. Tafla is gonna fall. I was sure there's no way he's getting away. Your mother might fall now as well. That last tower hit is just gonna hit him. Can't quite get it. He does armlet toggle well. Valiant has stolen Charge of Darkness. Tafla falls to the Weaver, and now it looks like they are trying to find these other pickoffs. Roshan will be back in about 2 minutes time, so they might just want to wait around for that. And it looks like the Radiant team now has stalled this long enough. Are they going to go for this base race? The bottom lane is pushed out enough for them to really push in and try and get another lane of racks and kind of equalize. But of course, with Troll Warlord still up, with your mother still up, that is still going to be very, very scary for them to do. Puck is running in, of course. Hebe, will you have a Song of the Siren available by the time you try to breach the high ground? Not at the moment, but Tyrell Smoochie Wallace, he still has Lincoln, still has time-lapse available. He does not have buyback off of cooldown at the moment, but it looks like they might get this. I would say they're probably going to get this tower, maybe 1 racks. Interesting to see, though. Silencer has bought back. They do know that Global Silence is on cooldown at the moment. Your mother charging through everybody, going for Vamp. Does get the armlet up, a stun right after it. Does get it. Looks like Vamp just getting single targeted out by your mother. Tyrell Smoochie Wallace doing so much damage to him, though. And if they can stun Tyrell, that might be the end of it. He does time-lapse for almost no reason. Hebe pops the Song of the Siren and TPs away. Looks like Chris barely making it out of there with his own life, and it looks like he's just retreating home. Nobody with Boots of Travel yet, and now Tyrell Smoochie Wallace just trying to clear up this lane at the top, trying to guarantee that a little bit more damage gets done, and they do only get the tower. This melee racks for the Dire team still stands, and now Roshan will be up in about 30 seconds time. Thank you, little respawn Roshan timer, popping up for me right at the perfect moment. And this has been a terrific, terrific game so far. If we look at the net worth, of course, you still have Troll Warlord leading the pack, followed very closely by Weaver, but then Puck as well as Razor. I mean, they have farmed very, very well. And with Razor 4,000 ahead of his essential Radiant counterpart, the Silencer, you don't want him to be 4,000 ahead when you're up against these sorts of odds. And if we look at the difference in gold, under 1,000 difference at 47 minutes in, and that is just obscene. If we look at the difference in experience, it's almost completely evened out. This is by and large the most even game I have ever encountered. Still no gem up for anybody. Wizbiz does have an MKB as well as a butterfly, and it looks now like they are chasing down. Not sure who it was. Your mother was just charging into lane, and that's it. Just barely missing Tyrell Smoochie Wallace, and he has to be so happy about that. Hebe was here, does not have a Siren Song yet, though. And now it looks like Chris is being wary. They do have vision of him, though. Gets ult right away. If they get this Puck right away, does not actually blink, and now with that 4 times multicast, so lucky there. As you can hear that cash register, that jackpot being doled out for him. That is a free Aegis for this Dire team. There's a cheese. Your mother picks up the cheese. Who has the Aegis? It is the Spirit Breaker as well. He's just going to be so resilient, and all he is now is crowd control. He provides a lot of damage, of course, but running around, Tyrell Smoochie Wallace trying to get these racks, and he's getting chased down by Wizbiz. Does pop the time lapse and try and get out. Is going to get stunned, and that is going to be, does he have buyback? Let's see, folks. He does indeed have buyback. It is not GG yet. If it had been, I think it might have been. If they had surged down this mid lane, I mean, they really need the DPS that this Weaver provides. They don't have really any way to contend against not only basically against these BKB carries, against Troll Warlord, against your mother. You basically have no way to deal with them except Weaver, so he's gonna need to buy back. They want to at least force out that buyback. If he doesn't buy back soon, though, that will be GG, of course. And WizBiz does pop it. A fortification used completely and utterly in response to Battle Trance, trying to just mitigate the damage a bit. And now using Song of the Siren as well, trying to make sure that Battle Trance is completely run out, getting those bugs on everybody. And it looks like the bugs are actually able to attack while people are asleep. It looks now like your mother is doing what he does best, popping that BKB, going in right for the vamp. But a lot of action going on. WizBiz just barely getting away to Penguin now, trying to pick up a kill. They do get the Weaver. He does not come back, and I don't see how this will be anything but a GG for the Dire team. They're probably going to win this. I don't see how the Radiant team can survive. They don't have Song of the Siren anymore. They've used up all their stalling tactics. Tafla will fall, but that's not the end of the world. WizBiz, of course, able to pretty much regen all of his health back. Oh, he's actually so close. Valiant going in for the kill. Gets the kill now. Oh my god. Just barely living, but your mother did. The Aegis did indeed pop. Popped the cheese as well. Vamp is here trying to steal as much damage as possible. Caboose using his ills just to get away, but the creeps say no. Your mother is here trying to stun, trying to get anybody he can. Can't quite do it. Valiant now trying to stun him, but has to armlet toggle, doesn't do it perfectly. Troll Warlord has bought back as well. Looks like he wants to rush down mid. He wants to take out these heroes. And this tier 4 still stands. If we look at the graph, now massively in favor. I wouldn't say massively. 4,000 is not massive this late in the game. But now actually in favor of the Dire. Most likely because of all of these farming structures that, of course, you can take down. They did have a good engagement there. They had quite a few kills. Still very even in the kills department, however. And now the Dire is leading in gold and experience, but not really by much. And now WizBiz realizing that he is completely fine to continue fighting. There's only 3 heroes here, none of which... Oh, make that 4. Chris now catching him out. He is going to get pigged. Will this be enough? He has popped BKB. There is nothing that can deal with him at the moment. He was ensnared the whole time, going right for Vamp. This Storm is doing a lot of damage to him. Is he going to live through it? His BKB has fallen. They can definitely get this kill if they want, but your mother is here as well. Has BKB still available, and they might have wanted to go for that kill. Tyrell Smoochie Wallace now is here as well, trying to provide the DPS they need to really take out these heroes. It's 5 on 4. I know that the Radiant team wants to push this, but I don't think they quite can. Valiant does not have the health or the mana at the moment to really provide too much in team fight. He'll simply feed your mother pretty much all the time. And now with these lanes pushing in on the Radiant team, I think they need to go back. They want this lane of Rack so much just to equalize things a little bit with both bottom and mid lanes down. They want to so bad, but WizBiz is of course now full HP. BKB is only on 4 seconds, but it is off of cooldown, and he can essentially just run right up into this entire team. Caboose now does get a nice ills off, can't quite stun time, and that is a free kill on Hebe. But being only level 14, he'll most likely be back in time by the time this Dire team really rushes down, unless of course you have WizBiz moving at max move speed and just pushing lanes all the time. Chris does have a DD available to him. Combined with this Scythe of Vise, he might be able to actually take out your mother if things get a little bit too hairy. Looks like your mother might have wanted to bait out that blink and continue with it, but overall just decided against it, feeling like he wanted to save that charge for another time. Is also on cooldown, but wanting to save that Nether Strike pretty much whenever he can guarantee a kill rather than just a maybe. And now it looks like this Dire team are charging heads first into this top tower. They really want this. They want to get those mega creeps. Of course, mega creeps so hard to deal with. Chris might have wanted to get a better Dream Coil. Only got 2, and it was mostly BKB users. Tafla barely getting away. That Static Storm, Eye of the Storm not being enough. Caboose was enough there to take out your mother, however. Oh no, Caboose and your mother are all on the same team. Your mother does indeed fall. Caboose doing quite a bit of damage. WizBiz from around the tree line. Vamp now. It looks like Tafla is getting chased out by Chris. That is not where you want to be though. WizBiz does get ensnared. And as long as you are kited from WizBiz, this is a perfect engagement for this Radiant team. They're playing this so well. Still no time lapse used by Weaver there. And now it looks like they are indeed charging forward. And with that, who on the Dire team has buyback? Ogre Magi. And that's it. Nobody else is going to have it in time. And with Wizbiz being down there, definitely going to get this second lane of racks right here. That's a guarantee. But are they going to go for this tower? Wizbiz is down for 60 more seconds, and I wouldn't even call this a throw. This has just been a super close game. Look at the difference in experience this late in. It is a 55-minute game, and the experience difference is it's under 1,000. The gold is only 3,000. This is obscene, and now it looks like this Radiant team deciding to go for Mega Creeps themselves, almost guaranteeing them the win. There is not too much AoE on this Dire side. Wizbiz did not pick up a Battle Fury, and now it looks like this has to be the GG. Hebe does have Siren Song available to really stall out these fights. If things get a little hairy, Chris does pop that Dream Coil only on Tafla, not wanting to let him use that Global Silence if it was off of cooldown, but it's not. And now it looks like Penguin does get Static Linked. It's not going to be enough. They are going for this. They just want to stall enough for Wizbiz to get here. Valiant falls to your mother. Caboose now as well. They're all rushing for this Ancient. Tyrol Smoochie Walls is cleaning up. He does not fall there. Oh no, he does buy back just in time. And with that, the Radiant team does indeed win it. Ancient does fall for the Dire team. Such a good fight. Look at these stats, people. Oh, they mean nothing now that the end of game has happened, but under 1,000 experience different near the end there, under 3,000 difference in gold. Just an obscenely close game. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been Briefcase bringing you another Eat, Sleep, Play community in-house.